Hello everyone! Welcome back sa aking YouTube channel. Kung bago ka lang sa aking YouTube channel, please don't forget to click subscribe para sa latest updates. Today, ating pong pag-uusapan ang mga criteria and point system for hiring to Teacher 1 positions. So ito po ay nakabase sa DepEd Order No. 7 Series of 2023. So dito ang ating focusan lang ay yung mga guidelines na may kinalaman sa pag-hire ng mga Teacher 1. So these criteria and point system shall cover the selection and hiring of teacher applicants for Teacher 1 positions in the kindergarten, junior high school, and senior high school. So for senior high school, the same criteria shall apply in hiring teacher applicants under permanent, provisional, or contractual status. So generally, itong guidelines na ito na naka-stipulate sa DepEd Order No. 7 Series of 2023 ay para sa mga gustong mag-apply sa DepEd for Teacher 1 positions. So the comparative assessment for Teacher 1 shall be based on the following criteria. So the first criterion is education, then training, experience, then PBET, LET or LEPT rating, the PPST classroom observable indicators, and then the PPST non-classroom observable indicators. And we're going to discuss it one by one. So the first one is on education. So ito yung mga education units and or degree relevant to the position to be filled that exceed the minimum requirements as defined in the CSC approved qualification standards. Later, malalaman natin kapag mag-a-apply ba ako ng Teacher 1, ano ba yung minimum requirements na kailangan. So ano ba ang kailangan natin ditong malaman? Kung ang approved qualification standard ay nasa ganitong level, so dapat at least ay ma-meet natin yon, or kung gusto nating makakuha ng mas mataas na puntos, dapat mas mataas yung ating qualification doon sa minimum requirements na hinihingi ng position na gusto nating applyan. Next is the training. So the training hours in curriculum and instruction and or other specialized training for skills development in fields related to the work, duties, and responsibilities for Teacher 1 that exceed the minimum requirements as defined in the CSC approved qualification standards acquired in the last 5 years. So please be reminded of that. So yung kung bagong aplikante ka pa lang, yung mga training na na-attendan for the last 5 years na may kinalaman sa curriculum and instruction ay i-consider dito sa inyong pag-apply. So for senior high school naman, training may be those relevant to the learning area, specialization, or strand. So there are cases na sa senior high school especially, mayroong mga areas na highly specialized. So for instance, sa mga pastry at kung ano-ano pang mga technical skills. So kung may mga training na related kayo doon, ay you keep it din also at gamitin sa inyong pag-apply, especially kung ang inyong binabalak na applyan ay senior high school. The next one is experience. So, experience in teaching exceeding the minimum requirements as defined in the CSC approved qualification standards. For senior high school, relevant industry and or work experience may be considered. So, basically, this focuses on kung mayroon man kayong mga teaching experience, of course, dahil pagtuturo ito, na kung mayroon na kayong mga experiences about it, then you have to submit the corresponding documents that certifies na kayo ay nakapagtrabaho dito. For the case naman ng senior high school, may mga cases na nag-involve kayo or kayo nakapagtrabaho sa isang particular industry. Let's say for example nga pastry ang sinabi ko kanina. Then kung nakapag-work kayo sa relevant field, then you have to submit also the documentary evidence na magpapatunay na kayo ay nakapagtrabaho doon sa particular job na yon. The next one is the PBET, LET, or LEPT training rating. So for the PBET rating, of course, what will be gathered or certified from the Professional Regulation Commission na rating ninyo, yun ang inyong gagamitin at isa-submit at i-compute yun accordingly based doon sa maximum or points na pwede ninyong ma-attain. Then we have the PPST classroom observable indicators. So these are the indicators which will be discussed in detail mamaya. And it will be measured through classroom observation and demonstration teaching. Then the next one is the PPST non-classroom observable indicators. Ito naman ay mami-measure through teacher reflection form, which will be also discussed in the succeeding slides. So the weight allocation or point system for each criterion is detailed in the succeeding table. So the point system for comparative assessment for teacher 1 positions. So as what we have discussed earlier, there are 6 criterions na pagbabasehan para ikaw ay makapag-apply or ma-hire sa teacher 1 position. The first one is education, and the maximum points na pwede mong ma-earn is 10. Sa training, mayroon ding 10 points. Sa experience, mayroon ding 10 points. At sa PBET, LET, or LEPT rating, you have 10 points. And for the classroom observation and demo teaching, you have 35 points. And for the teacher reflection or dun sa non-classroom observable indicators, you have 25 points, or a total of 100 points. So now we're going to discuss in detail the rubrics for computation of the points per criterion, at we're going to discuss it in detail kung paano siya kinocompute at ano ang mga pinagbabasehan ng kanilang mga computations. So the first one is the ETE, or the Education, Training, and Experience. So the points for ETE, or the corresponding to the applicant's qualification exceeding the qualification standards, shall be computed using increments table 2.A, 2.B, and 2.C, which will be presented later. And the rubrics for computation of points for ETE are in the table 3, which will also be presented. So only those qualifications that are relevant to the position to be filled shall be given points. So here's the first one, the increments table for education. So there are specific ranges for each of these, from 2.A to 2.C. Mayroon siyang specific range of from to 2, and then they have this corresponding level. For instance, commonly we have this for teacher applicants, we have a bachelor's degree graduate. So kung titingnan natin siya sa table 2.A increments table for education, so that is 6. So nasa level 6 ka kapag ikaw ay bachelor's degree. Kapag ikaw naman ay graduate, let's say for example may 9 units sa master's degree, so nasa level 8 ka naman. And that's how you compute and determine kung anong particular level ka sa increments table na ito. But take note that we're just looking at the level pa lang, hindi pa yung corresponding points na mai-earn ninyo, dahil gagamitin pa lang itong reference mamaya kapag i-determine na kung anong particular increments level ka nagfo-fall at kung anong corresponding points ang iyong makukuha kapag nasa ganitong particular level ka. We also have the table 2.B. Ito naman ay para sa training. May specific ranges din sila for every training. For example, nakakuha ka ng 24 hours of training. So, ikaw ay nasa level 4. So, for example, ikaw ay nakakuha ng 36 hours na training. So, ikaw ay nasa level 5. So, 32 hours and then less than 40 hours. So, sa experience naman, meron din silang corresponding level. So, for example, wala kang teaching experience. Most cases are like this. So, nasa level 1 ka. So, from 0 experience up to 6 months, less than 6 months of experience, 0 ang iyo. Nasa level 1 ka. So, for example, you have let's say 2 years of experience. Nasa level 5 ka naman. So, that's how it is being determined. Pero hindi pa yun yung hindi pa yan siya yung baseline sa pag-determine ng points. Mamaya malalaman natin na reference lang ito sa increments table. Titingnan pa rin yung mga actual qualification mo at babasihan lang ito mamaya sa pag-determine ng mga corresponding points. So, the weight allocation or point system for each criterion is detailed in the table below. So, dito, sabi nga natin kanina, the weight allocation for the education, training, and experience ay tigti 10 points. So, mayroon tayong tinatawag na mga increments. Mamaya malalaman natin kung paano ito nakukuha. It's not about the level Pinakita lang natin kung anong level natin kanina, pero hindi pa yun yung number of increments na meron tayo. Mamaya i-compute natin one by one at makikita ninyo kung paano siya na-determine. Pero if in case na na-compute na natin yung mga increments, for example, ang increments na meron ka sa education ay 4, so ang points mo ay 4. Kung halimbawa sa training naman ay nasa 7 ka halimbawa, so for 6 and 7 6 to 7 increments, we have 6 points. So 6 points naman na nakuha mo. Kung sa experience, halimbawa ay nakakuha ka ng 6 to 7 increments, so 6 points din ang makukuha mo doon sa maximum na 10 points. So mas maiintindihan po natin ito mamaya kapag nagpakita na po tayo ng actual example and explanation, detailed explanation sa pag-compute ng mga points per specific criterion. So halimbawa, ito yung ating illustrative example. Makikita natin kung paano po dito mako-compute ang atin pong mga specific points. So for example, nag-publish ang school ng vacant position, and the vacant position is teacher 1 for secondary, at ang salary grade niya ay 11. So ito yung sinasabi ko kanina na qualification standards per CSE approved. So ang educational level na required para sa teacher 1 position ay dapat ay graduate of Bachelor of Secondary Education, kasi ang hinihingi ay secondary. So kung elementary, di elementary naman ang nakalagay dyan. Or bachelor's degree plus 18 professional units in education with appropriate major. So as what I have explained a while ago, may mga nagtuturo sa secondary level, especially sa senior high, na hindi talaga teacher by profession, but they wanted to teach and mayroon na silang previously earned na degree. So they just need to take 18 units of professional education subjects, and then they're going to take the board doon, kasama na yon. So training ay non-required, walang required na training. So sa experience naman, wala ding required na experience, kaya nga kahit na bagong graduate ka lang ay pwede kang mag-apply sa teacher 1. And hypothetically, for instance, kasi kailangan natin itong date na ito sa pag-determine ng number of years of experience na meron ka. So hypothetically, we have September 20, 2022 as the date of the HRM-PSB assessment or open ranking system, for instance. So based doon sa minimum qualification standards ng position na if-fill, so the Human Resource Merit Promotion and Selection Board shall determine the baseline level for computing the points for the ETE using the increments table as shown in the previously discussed 2A, 2B, and 2C increments table. So, gamit yung tables na meron tayo kanina, so the requirement is BSED or Bachelor's Degree plus 18 professional units in education. So, that is in level 6. Sa training naman, non-required, so nasa level 1. Sa experience naman ay non-required, so level 1 din. So tingnan natin dito sa table mismo na actual. Yan. So what was required for a teacher 1 position is BSED, diba? Bachelor's degree. So nandito siya sa level 6. Kaya kanina ay nasa level 6 ang classification niya. Sa ano naman, sa training, non-required, so nasa level 1. Sa experience din ay non-required, so nasa level 1 din siya. So tandaan natin yung level 6, level 1 at level 1. Importante po yun mamaya. So after determining the baseline level, the HRM PSB shall compute for the increments of the applicant's actual qualifications based on the submitted documentary requirements. So, i-evaluate isa-isa yung documents na sinabit mo. Yun ay baseline pa lang ha. Yung pinakita natin kanina ay hindi pa yung actual na hypothetically na sinabmit ng teacher applicant. Yun yung baseline pa lang yun. So, the increment shall refer to the difference between the applicant's actual qualification level and the corresponding level of the minimum or the baseline QS requirements of the position to be filled. So, yung increment kanina na pinag-uusapan pa natin kung paano siya makukuha, yun ay nakabase sa kung ano ang meron kang documents. Isusubtract yun. Isusubtract doon sa actual na documents na meron ka, level, ang standard or baseline qualification. Standards or titingnan natin mamaya kung paano siya ina-apply. So, only qualifications that are relevant to the position to be filled and which exceed the minimum baseline QS requirements of the position shall be included in the computation of increments. Okay. So, dito na tayo sa example. So, the computation of increments based on the actual educational qualification of applicant A. For instance, so, ito yung mga actual na nakuha nung aplikante. Yung kanina yung pinakita natin is yung kung ano ang kailangan. Nag-hire sila, ito yung mga kailangan. Ngayon naman may nag-submit ng isang applicant at ito hypothetically ang kanyang sinubmit, for instance. So si applicant A ay graduate ng BSEd at mayroon siyang 18 units na for a master's degree in education. So gamit yung table 2.A, the corresponding level of applicant A's education qualification is 18 units for a master's degree in education. So yun ay naka-classify sa level 11. So the number of increments for applicants A's education qualification shall be computed by subtracting the minimum QS level. Kanina, ang hinihingi ay dapat bachelor's graduate. So yun ay level 6. Pero si applicant na nag-apply ngayon ay nasa level 11. So as illustrated below, so ang applicant's level ay 11 minus yung qualification standards level na 6, na level 6. So ang kanyang increment ay 5. So yun na yung kanyang increment. Sumunod naman is yung computation ng actual training qualification ng applicant. So kanina education yon. Ngayon naman, halimbawa yung si applicant A ay mayroong 32 hours ng training on curriculum contextualization or localization and lesson planning. So the cumulative hours of the relevant training or yung learning and development or L&D which are acquired within the last 3 years shall be considered for the counting of increments. So dahil pasok naman yung 2021, dahil doon sa September 20, 2022 na open ranking, so pasok naman siya within the last 3 years. So in the case of applicant A, the 32 hours of training on curriculum contextualization or localization and lesson planning are considered relevant to the teacher 1 position. So using the table 2.B, yung ginamit natin kanina, the corresponding level of applicant A's training qualification is 24 hours, which is 24 hours, 32 hours is on level 5. So the number of increments for applicant A's training qualification shall be computed by subtracting the minimum QS level from the applicant's qualification level. So ang requirement is level 1 pero ang na-achieve niya ay level 5. So applicant's training level minus QS level equals the increment. So ang kanyang level ay 5 minus na QS level na 1, so 4. So ang kanyang increments ay 4. So sumunod naman ay yung computation ng increments based on the actual experience qualification ng applicant. So here pinakita na hypothetically itong ating applicant ay nagturo sa Marian Academy as teacher associate from June 1, 2018 to present. So of course, only those relevant to the position to be filled shall be considered. So, dahil sa teacher 1 position, is a teaching experience, so i-consider natin siya. So, that is from June 1, 2018 to present. And the assessment, sabi ko kanina, importante yung open ranking date, which is September 20, 2022. So, that is June 1, 2018 hanggang September 20, 2022. That is 4 years and 3 months. So using the table that we have used before to see the corresponding level of applicant A's experience qualification for 4 years and 3 months is level 9. So the number of increments and for applicant A qualification shall be computed by subtracting the minimum qualification standards level, which is level 1, from the applicant's qualification level, which is level 9. So 9 minus 1 is 8. So ang kanyang increments level is 8. So after computing the number of increments from the minimum baseline qualification standards requirement, the corresponding points earned by the applicant for ETE shall be determined using table 3, or the rubrics for computation of points for education, training, and experience. So using table 3 and based on the number of increments earned by applicant A, the computation of points for ETE is as follows. So, the qualification standards that we have discussed a while ago. So, meron tayong education ay BSED, training ay non-required, and experience ay non-required. Yung qualification naman ng applicant sa education, meron siyang BSED degree at 18 units sa masters. Tapos may 32 hours siya na training at nagturo siya sa Marian Academy from June 1, 2018 to present. So, when computed, so meron siyang 5 increments kanina. And we also have sa education, we have 4 increments sa training at saka 8 increments sa experience. So, using the rubrics table, sa table 3, so 4 to 5 increments is 4 points. That is 4 points out of 10. 4 to 5 increments is 4 points also out of 10. And then 8 to 9 increments is 8 points out of 10. So, all in all, ay nakakuha siya ng 16 points out of the 30 points. So, also take note that the meeting the minimum baseline qualification requirements for education, training, and experience shall be given 0 points. So, for instance, halimbawa lang, nangyari na, may halimbawa, meron tayong applicant B, tapos ay BSED lang ang meron siya, hindi siya nakapag-earn ng master units sa master's degree. So, syempre, level 6 lang siya. Ay, ang kailangan din ay ang level 6 minus level 6 ay 0 yon. So, 0 points ang makukuha mo kung BSED ka lang. So, dapat meron kang at least may makuha kang units para maka-earn ka ng points dito sa education. Kasi ang ibig sabihin lang no, na-meet mo lang yung minimum requirements para sa ranking. Kaya wala kang makukuhang puntos. Okay, the next one is the PBET, LET, and LEPT rating. So, points for the PBET or LET and LEPT rating shall be computed using the succeeding formula. So, this formula shall likewise apply to senior high school applicants who may not have passed the PBET, LET, and LEPT but may be appointed under provisional status. So, provided that the applicant submits a certificate of rating. So, kahit siya ay nagbagsak, halimbawa sa senior high school, so, clear naman doon sa PBET LET rating natin, no? Kapag ikaw ay pumasa sa LET, so, yung kung anong rating na makuha mo, ay yun ang gagamitin. Ganon din sa mga nag-fail, especially sa senior high school, kasi mayroon nga tayong binibigyan ng provisional status, lalo kung highly technical ang kanilang mga itinuturo, so, pwede silang ma-hire pa rin in provisional status. Kaya gagamitin pa rin yung puntos nila sa LET, for instance, kahit na sila ay bumagsak. So, for instance, ito yung ginagamit na formula. So, yung points ng PBET or LET rating is divided by 100 times the weight allocation. So, ang weight allocation for the LET rating is 10. So, for instance, ang LET rating mo is 82.75. So, 82.75 at ang weight allocation natin ay 10. So, 82.75 divided by 100 times 10 is 8.275 points. So, yun ang nakuha mo out of 10 points ay 8.275 points. So, the next one is the teacher's demonstration of PPST COIs shall be assessed through the conduct of the classroom observation or demonstration teaching using the classroom observation tool for recruitment, selection, and placement. So, focusing on levels 2 to 6 of the COT rubric to capture good performance in the beginning towards proficient career stage. So, the classroom observable strands and indicators or for the selected COIs indicated in this the Department Order number 7 shall constitute the classroom observable objectives for hiring entry-level teachers unless otherwise modified by subsequent issuances. So, for the PPST classroom observable indicators for Teacher 1, meron ditong 5 observable strands and indicators na kailangang ma-meet. The first one is to apply knowledge of content within and across curriculum teaching areas. Of course, it is expected for teacher applicants that they have the knowledge and skills, so you need to apply that in your demonstration teaching. You also use a range of teaching strategies that enhance learner achievement in literacy and numeracy. Also, you have to apply a range of teaching strategies to develop critical and creative thinking, as well as other higher order thinking skills. Also, you need to plan, manage, and implement developmentally sequenced teaching and learning processes to meet curriculum requirements and varied teaching context. And to design or select, organize, and use diagnostic, formative, and summative assessment strategies consistent with curriculum requirements. So, yun yung mga indicators na dapat nating tingnan as we prepare for our demonstration teaching. The same also applies with hiring teacher 1 in indigenous people's education. Medyo may konting pagbabago lang, especially in 1.6.2 at saka 3.5.2. This is to display proficient use of mother tongue, Filipino, and English to facilitate teaching and learning, and to adapt and use culturally appropriate teaching strategies to address the needs of learners from indigenous groups. So this is specific indicators for the indigenous people's education. So the classroom observation tools for recruitment, selection, and placement. So the following tools are designed to measure the classroom performance of teacher applicants against the identified observable indicators. So we have the COT rubric, observation notes, the rating sheets, and the inter-observer agreement form. So yun yung mga tools na yun. So for instance, na-evaluate ka na at nakapag-demo ka na. So the points for the classroom observable indicators is equal to the COT rating divided by 30 times the weight allocation. So the weight allocation for the COIs ay 30 at yung COT rating naman is yung rating na ma-obtain mo sa demonstration teaching. So for instance, ang COT rating mo ay 20 out of 30. So the weight allocation is 35. So 20 divided by 30 times 35 is equal to 23.333 points. So yun ang nakuha mong points for the PPST classroom observable indicators o doon sa demonstration teaching. So sa mga non-classroom observable indicators naman, so the teacher applicant's demonstration of PPST and COIs shall be assessed through the teacher applicant's narrative and reflection using the teacher reflection form. There's a corresponding form to be accomplished. Dun mo isusulat yung iyong reflection. And then, the selected NCOIs indicated in this department order shall constitute the non-classroom observable objectives for hiring of teachers unless otherwise modified by subsequent issuances. So, the non-classroom observation tools for RSP includes the following. So, meron kayong teacher reflection form at saka yung rubrics na gagamitin para i-evaluate yung teacher reflection form at yung inter-evaluator agreement for the TRF. So, the points for the PPST COI shall be computed as follows. So, the points is, the maximum points that can be achieved here is 20 points. And then, for instance, ang rating na na-obtain mo doon is 14. So, the weight allocation for the non-classroom observable indicators is 25. So, 14 divided by 20 times 25 is 17.5 points. So, that's how it is computed. Also, there are other evaluative assessments that can be used. So, this includes behavioral events interviews. This shall be conducted to gather additional information about the teacher applicants in terms of other aspects, such as, but not limited to, their potential, character, and fitness. Also, we have the skills or work sample test. This may be conducted as may be necessary, especially for assessing applicants in certain tracks, strand, and specializations in the senior high school. Ito yung mga iba pang mga pwedeng gamitin. So, other evaluative assessments as stipulated in inclusion number 1 of this order, the DepEd Order number 7 series of 2023, such as but not limited to ethics-oriented and personality development test, may be required to gather sufficient information and guidance for the appointing authority in selecting possible appointees. So, yun po yung mga bagong explanation about the specific criterion na kailangan nating tingnan kapag tayo po yung mag-a-apply as Teacher 1. So, I hope you have learned a lot in this discussion, and thank you very much for paying attention. Have a great day.